Uh-oh. Okay. All right. I think we're live. It says we're live.
Live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Isn't It Romantic Book Club. I'm Abbie Roads. I will be your semi-host tonight since our leader, Diana, is in parts unknown in Colorado somewhere on vacation, having fun. So I'll be our leader tonight. I write dangerously dark romance. Here's my little pile of books I have. And here is, oh wait, there's the cover of my next one, Capturing Fate, and I am like 50 pages away from being done with edits.
Oh, yay.
So yay.
That's exciting.
Yes. So Sharon?
My name is Sharon Wray. I write romantic suspense, and here's a little pile of books. This one, Search of Truth, just came out, and the novella Love's Last Kiss should be out hopefully in a couple months. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here tonight, but I miss Diana. It's not the same without her.
I know.
It's lonely.
Okay,
You're up, Jenny.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennie Marts, and I write cozy mysteries and hot hockey players and hunky cowboys and cowboys who play hockey. And here's my fun pile of books. Dang, I can figure it out. Okay, so what I want to tell you, though, as part of my intro, is this book right here, Caught Up in a Cowboy, is free right now. So it's free for the next few days. So if you have not read this book, or you want to get it on your Kindle too, go grab it on. And I think if you download it for free, then I think you get a discount on the audiobook. So it is on an audiobook, kind of fun. And then my new book, Cowboy State of Mind, comes out next Tuesday. So pretty excited about that. Lots going on around here.
And Jenny, in your ebook, the free version of the ebook, I think there's the first chapter of the next book in there.
Yes, it is. I think it is too. Yeah. Which, and actually the first 3 in the series are on sale. So these 2 are on a cheap wad sale too.
I love book
I
sale.
remember, like $1.99 and $2.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
So now's the time to get caught up in Credence if you think so. Oh, Michelle! It looks like Michelle ate her dinner in 5 minutes, just so she could make it on time. Hi, Michelle.
Yes. And hi, Barb. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Allison. Hi, Hannah.
Allison.
Okay. Oh, hi, Laura.
Okay, guys. I got to introduce tonight's author. Tonight, we're going to be talking with Paige Tyler. She is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of romantic suspense, military romantic suspense, and paranormal romance. She and her very own military hero, known as her husband, live on the beautiful Florida coast with their adorable fur baby, known as their dog. Paige graduated with a degree in education, but decided to pursue her passion and to write books about hunky alpha heroes and the kick-butt heroines who fall in love with them. And tonight's book is, here it is, Wolf Under Fire. And here's Paige. Hey, Paige!
Welcome, Paige.
How are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Who you holding?
This is the hero of Wolf Under Fire. Jake, see, he looks just like him.
Looks just like I pictured him.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, exactly like we pictured him.
Yes.
Perfect.
Cute.
All right, so I have a question for everybody. So, like, I don't think I've read, I think we read Kate's werewolf book, and then we have read this one. And I don't think I've done any werewolves since, like, I was, like, a teenager. So I was thinking about, like, who's everybody's favorite werewolf? Like, I'm still stuck back on Teen Wolf, like, with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Oh, no, not that one. The MTV version. I love.
I love that one, too.
That's my favorite. Dirk is my favorite werewolf. Do you like Dirk?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Is Dirk your favorite werewolf?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, and I kind of think that Team Edward, Team Jacob, like.
So Team Jacob could be a favorite werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a little young for me, but he's so cute.
Yeah, I think he's a little young for me too. But my daughter liked him, so.
And Michelle says she's tied between Gage and Xander.
Yes, Gage. Well, this is Gage right here. He's from the Special Wolf Alpha team, which is what this series is a spin-off of the Special Wolf Alpha team.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
This book is the first one in the new series, correct?
Yes, the Wolf Under Fire. Yes, this is
Yeah.
one in the Special Threat Assessment team. Yeah.
Yeah, that. Love
So
that.
Allison says that she loved Rogue, but Jake is awesome.
Oh.
Well, Paige, tell us a little bit about this whole spin-off idea and how that works between the first series and the new one. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
Right. Well, they're in the same world. And actually, we kind of had the character Caleb, and I know Abbie said that, oh my gosh, I love Caleb.
I do.
He's a little crazy. We had him all the way back in book 3 of Special Wolf Alpha Team, and we just released book 10. So we had him, and we knew we wanted to do something with him, but we didn't know what. We're thinking, because he sort of is on the wrong side of the law when they meet, he wouldn't really fit into this Special Wolf Alpha Team series. So we just hung on to him. We thought maybe make a novella. And then we said, no, he's too good of a character for such a short story. So when we wrote book 9, Wolf Instinct, with the hunky British werewolf on the team, in Special Wolf Alpha Team, we brought in Jake. And he's an alpha looking for his, he's drawn to these 2 teenage werewolves who just turned because their parents were murdered, and they're betas. So he's looking for them to be their alpha, and they were looking for him. So he gets drawn in, and we were originally actually going to put him on Special Wolf Alpha Team. But then our editor said, why don't you do this new Special Threat Assessment Team as a spin-off series? Because we actually brought them into book 9 anyway, when we brought in new paranormal creatures. And Paul, that's my husband, we write together, and we looked at each other and said, well, what do you think? Want to do that? So we were like, yeah. And then we thought, oh, that's a perfect place for Caleb. He can redeem himself there, even though he's still a little wild, as you saw, but we redeem himself there. And that's how it came about.
That's cool. So, okay, I got to ask, is Caleb going to have his own book?
Yeah, right? That's my question too.
Yes, he does. He is actually, we just finished the second book, which is Harley's, and she falls for a hunky British werewolf from MI6. Okay. And Caleb has a huge part in that book, obviously, but his book is the next book after hers. I know everybody's like, oh, I want him right away, but I'm like,
I know.
But
it's funny because like Caleb, for some reason, Caleb, for some reason in my mind, oh, okay, like everybody, watching, like, who did you picture for Caleb? Because he's got that little bit crazy, in him, which I adore. And for whatever reason in my mind, he was like Tom Hardy to me.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Doesn't he seem like a Tom Hardy?
Oh, yeah. No, I thought he was like that kind of blonde surfer.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly. In fact, the inspiration I have, and I don't know the guy's name, he's an actor, and a friend of mine said, wait, I think he'd be perfect for Caleb. And I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. We don't watch that, but he was on there. And I don't even know his name, but he's a kind of a surfery guy. Yes, that's how I pictured it.
Like I'm picturing kind of blonde, messy hair that's kind of like always got like sexy bedhead.
Yes, exactly. Perfect for him.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I want to know about her shoes. So I want to ask everybody. I love high heels, but can't really wear them well. But people say that Christian Louboutins are actually really comfortable to wear, and that they're not hard to walk in. So I want to know, any of our readers have ever worn them? And Paige, have you? Are they comfortable?
I do not. We just I wanted like designer shoes for this. So I'm like, what can we pick? So I found those. And you'll be happy to know that in book 2, there are some very fancy shoes in there that Harley loves. So, but they're actually Jimmy Choo's in that book.
Okay.
In Paris. But no, I have not worn them. When I always think of high heels, though, they have to have open toes because I don't really like anything covering my feet. I don't know why. that was more than you needed to know. But no, I have not worn them. But I do like to look at them. But I have to admit, I mostly run around in low shoes. If I'm just running around, and sometimes, like at the conferences, I'll wear the heels. But still, I like the sandal kind.
I've heard people say, though, that the really expensive high heels are actually comfortable. Like they're engineered to not look as tortuous as you might think they would be.
Either that or those people are saying that to like justify why they spent way so much money on shoes. They have to say, oh, they're so comfortable.
Maybe.
There you go.
There you go.
Guys.
When you see people walking in them, they're not like falling all over it. They're actually walking very gracefully. I'd be like,
although I have seen authors wearing like spike heels all day at conference, and like they get this weird like walk, like, and then after a while, and I'm like, oh, I know your feet are hurting.
Well, they had to have Justina take them off because she's like, I can't be button these shoes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Hallway and firing her weapon and jumping off that balcony, like.
Oh my gosh, that balcony thing! I literally bookmarked. Like, and I have a paper copy and I bookmarked it because I was like, man, if somebody was trying to throw me over a balcony and said, hey, do you trust me? Grab onto the next balcony. I'd be like, what? What'd you say? And like, I would end up like landing on the ground,
I would do the same thing. But, I got to make them kick butt. So they would probably not do like that.
And I'm afraid of heights. So I would not even be on that balcony anyway. I'd be like 4 feet back, like holding on.
Me too. Although I guess if someone were coming after us as bad guys, I guess that's the lesser of two evils.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. So, so we've got some reader comments. Allison said that she loved when Jess slapped Caleb to bring him out of his trance. That was one of her favorite things.
I did too.
Michelle says, I wish, and I'm assuming that means she wishes she had some Louis Vuittons, which we all kind of
we all wish.
My goal.
Wish we had the disposable income to buy those shoes.
And a place to wear them.
Exactly, right?
And Diana thinks we need to take a trip to the mall to try on those expensive high heels.
Hey, I think that's a great idea.
Mall. I think we'd have to take a trip to Rodeo Drive.
Yes, you probably find them there.
Yeah.
Although I don't think I'd be running around anywhere now. I'd be like, unless I can try them on virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to share Diana's comment because, we really tried, you guys. We really tried to get her. She came on and off and on and off and on and off. And she's outside. This beautiful lake is behind her.
It's a gorgeous vista behind her.
Putting in her little comments, and Diana loved the balcony part, and she shared that she and her husband snuck out of his parents' house when they were teens, and he had to catch her when she jumped off the roof.
Really?
So it's pretty much like Diana is a CIA operative.
There she goes.
And her husband's a werewolf, so there you go.
There you go.
With a CIA operative with 6 kids.
6 kids. Oh my God. Woo.
Is it 6? I thought it was 7.
7. I thought it was.
Was it 6?
Once you get past 5, it's kind of all the same. Is that right?
One would be too much for me to handle.
I'm not sure. So, Paige, let's talk about the werewolves. And I had a question about, do you make up some of your own werewolf stuff, or do you kind of follow like common werewolf lore? Or tell us about how that works.
We totally make it all up. I mean, we looked at werewolves and said, how can we make our werewolves different? Let's turn werewolves on their head. Because we didn't want to do that they were traditionally bitten. So they turn, because they have a gene, the werewolf gene, that will turn if they go through something traumatic. And whatever type of event it is determines what kind of werewolf it is. So Jake was teammates. So in his case, he turned into an alpha. He was, sacrificing himself for his teammates. Harley did the same, but I can't tell you what happened to her. You have to read your book. And Caleb, being an omega, he's closer to an alpha than a beta, like the twin girls, but he was angry and doing something, and he was angry at the time. The traumatic event made him angry, and therefore he, instead of being the alpha side, he went toward the omega.
What does the omega mean?
Well, just like traditional in any werewolf lore, the alpha, the beta, the omega, but where sometimes in a werewolf lore, the omega can be more submissive. We wanted our omegas to be totally opposite that, be fierce. And like I said, he has that streak of alpha in him. He just has to find it. He just has to get past what happened to him and reconcile with the anger that was in him at the time. So that's why he gets the blue eyes. And in fact, in Special Wolf Alpha Team, this series, we have a female werewolf who becomes an omega. So she has to deal with all that. And our betas they're non-traditional in the sense of, you think of a beta in regular werewolf lore, they just have really strong pack bonds, and they're not as aggressive, say, as an alpha werewolf would be. But also, we didn't want to do our alphas like the traditional alpha, where he's like, I am alpha and I will claim my mate. That just is not going to fly with us. So I want our women are equal to them. Like they can, she's can put herself in danger just as much as he can. What he would sacrifice to save her, she would do the same for him, even though she, like she's not a werewolf, so she can just do it human wise.
So Michelle commented on this, and Allison did too. So Allison commented that Caleb definitely does have anger issues, LOL. And Michelle has read a lot of werewolf books, and she says, I have to say that going through the traumatic event and having the gene is my absolute favorite when it comes to becoming a werewolf.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I want... For us, if a werewolf's bitten, that's the only way he can turn in. I mean, if you have a book like right now, we're working on the storyline for the 12th book in Special Wolf Alpha Team. If a werewolf gets bitten all the time, it can get kind of, boring. So You want different things. So in this way, you see that everything that happens to them is different in every case, how they turned into their werewolf. So.
There were parts of the book where I was like, totally Mission Impossible. Like, and then there were parts of the book where I was like, James Bond. like, and I don't know why, like when they were all together, that felt Mission Impossible-y to me. And then like when Jake and Jess were kind of going into that fancy party with Darby, I was like, this totally feels like James Bond, and like, I totally love James Bond. Like, were you intentionally trying to like, and I could like totally see like all of this stuff like actually happening like in a movie, like a Mission Impossible movie or a James Bond movie, So like, are you a fan? And like, hey, you all watching in, are you like a James Bond or a Mission Impossible person? Like, what are you, Paige?
I am definitely not a James Bond person. I'm sorry, but totally Mission Impossible person. Yes. So when we wrote that, we knew, we wanted like Mission Impossible werewolves is what we kind of, our tagline for that, when I go out and promote it, because we wanted all that action. That you see in the Mission Impossible movies, even though it's over the top, but it's supposed to be, because Mission Impossible is totally over the top.
Oh yeah,
So that's what we wanted to really capture. I don't want to give away the ending in case somebody hasn't read it, but that ending is totally over the top, but it kind of fits because it's Mission Impossible.
Well, and they're mated too. They're mated soulmates, people. So of course it has to end that way.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to go to London and South America? I mean, the book travels all over the place.
True. Well, we tried to talk our publisher into sending us, but that was a no-go. So no. But thank goodness for the internet. I mean, I remember trying to write before the internet. That was not good. But with the internet, like there's a scene where they go through that tunnel in London on the motorcycle, and Paul found actually video from that GoPro camera someone was wearing it on, a guy riding a motorcycle, and he rode through the tunnel. So we were like, oh, let's put that in there. So we do all of it on there, Google Maps, and like even the hotel that they're in, when the Bilderberg Society goes to that hotel, I went and I looked, I'm like, okay, let me describe these. So I looked at Bilderberg and I looked at the rooms in there so I could describe the room exactly like it is. So we try to get what we want to do. Our aim is to put our werewolves, but in the world we live in. I don't want it to seem like it's a different world. I want it the same world. So that's why I try to, do all that fun stuff. And in fact, the next book takes place in Paris and Greece and Morocco. So,
wow.
Hey.
all over the
Okay, I gotta jump in with some comments here. So we're and we forgot to tell you guys earlier that we are doing a giveaway. So we're doing another $20 gift card for our readers that are putting in comments. So we love it when you guys comment, and we love it when you ask questions. So we'll make sure that we get you guys on there. So Hannah loved the differences that you made in your books. She thought they really made them stand out. And Hannah loves action. Allison is Mission Impossible, but she never tied that with the books. And Michelle wants to know, can you tell us who the next werewolf will be in SWAT?
Oh, yeah, Special Wolf Alpha Team. Okay, so you just read Rachel's book. She's a female alpha on the team. And the next book is going to be Diego. So if you read that series, Diego's book is next. And then right now we're actually working on Trey's book, and he's after Diego. So we were definitely expanded. In the beginning, it was werewolves against just, really, really bad guys. And we expanded it. And if you've read it, I don't want to give any spoilers, but we do introduce a supernatural bad guy in book 9. Yeah, 9. The one where they go to LA.
Oh, right. I remember that book.
Oh, you read it? Then the British
series. I love the series, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to.
Oh, thank you.
But I also get confused too. So I don't want to say anything in one book when it could be from another book.
Yeah, you see, now I have to be the one that keeps all the books straight, because my husband will be like, I don't know which one is that. Like even the names of them, because the publisher pretty much names them, so we don't get to name anyway. So we just don't know. So that's a secret. So I'll tell him, yeah, it's Wolf Instinct, and he'll be like, which book is that? And I'm like, Zane and Alyssa. Oh, okay. So that's how we know he knows the books. So.
And Sarah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jenny.
Nope, you go ahead.
I was going to say, Sarah, I just saw her comment pop up, wants to know, how did you come up with the idea of the Technopath? That was really fascinating.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I love Misty. Okay, so it seems like in every Mission Impossible or any spy movie, you have to have a hacker. But we didn't want to just do a hacker who could get on the computer. We thought, what if we make her supernatural? We're like, what if she can get in the computer? She can buy, and we were like, oh, that is so cool. So as soon as we do that, we're like, oh my gosh, so cool. And I just love that she gets, the white eyes, her eyes go completely blank. And she's so in there that you can't even she left her body, type thing. She's no one home. And I'll have everybody know that purple hair and those purple eyes are real, which I think is so cool. So I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. But yeah, I love her. She is fun. And, well, if you read the book, I don't want to say, but there was a character who, let's say, died. And I was like, it was very upsetting because sometimes I was like, no, we have to. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I will tell you a secret. It was really funny. We woke up, we were talking about it. And I don't know, a couple of days later, my husband worked up and says, oh, yeah, he came to me in a dream, so we can't. And I'm like, what? I couldn't convince him, but obviously the character came to him and said, hey, you can't kill me off.
Oh, that's funny.
I will say I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm so glad it ended that way. I'm so glad that he, I was like, oh, heartbroken. And then I was okay.
But I do that, and I know the story, and I'm writing it, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad at that part, because it gets really hard. But hard for me, too, is to write the parts. Now, in Wolf Under Fire, if you've read the Special Wolf Alpha Team, you know that all the prologues show them turning. But we didn't do that with Wolf Under Fire. We want to make it different. And for me, writing those prologues is like the hardest part because it's so traumatic. And we deal with some issues that they're traumatic issues. Like the one guy in Wolf Hunger, he is a victim of domestic violence, his family. So that's real. They just get me. I can't help it. I'm like writing it and I'm crying. I'm like, even though I know what happens and they're okay, but I'm very sensitive to my characters.
I know. Hey, Paige, just for anybody who doesn't know, can you explain your writing process with your husband? Because people may not know that. Yeah, people may not know that you write together.
Right, we write together, and I've had people say, "So, do you like write? Each of you write a chapter, or do each of you write a character, or does he write the action and you write the romance?" But we don't do it like that at all. I mean, we do the from beginning to now. The finished product I take, but from the beginning to draft is all us together. What we love to do is go to our favorite restaurant, P.F. Chang's, and let me tell you, plotting books without P.F. Chang's, we haven't been there since this started, and it is like hard, people. Let me tell you, we're trying to plot books. Chicken is hard. But what we do is we go there and we say, okay, let's talk about, like, say if it's Kayla's book, let's talk about Kayla's book. And we come up with some ideas before we get there. And then we get there, we sit and we brainstorm, and we pretty much have sometimes it takes a couple visits to P.F. Chang's, not that I'm complaining to do that, but it will take a couple visits, and we'll outline the whole story, and we'll add bits and pieces, and we'll fill in, and okay, well, we need this in the middle, and we know we need this toward the end, this in the beginning, we've got to think of this. We need his background, her background, how he became a werewolf, if she's a werewolf too, how she became a werewolf, or if she's going to be a different, paranormal. We have to think, what's their story, these paranormals, because we want it to be different. I don't like anything that's, been done before. We want it to be different. And then on the way home, so it's about a 30-minute drive to Chang's, and on the way home, we recap everything we talked about over dinner, and I type it down on the iPad, come home, and send the iPad or email everything to my husband's email on his computer, and he gets it all set up, and we write in Scrivener. I don't know if you know Scrivener. Mm-hmm. You do? You love Scrivener. Okay. So we put everything out in that, and he outlines it with my input. So like what he'll do is at night we write, at night, because he obviously has a day job, but at night he will, and on the weekends, and when he's off, you're right. And then each night I'll look at what he's written in that section or whatever. And, it's really rough, but I'm like, I look and say, yeah, this is good. Or wait, what is this? You added this in? No, I don't like this. She can't be like this. Or he can't do this. Or he wouldn't say this. No. And I'll sort of course correct as he's outlining and writing that first draft, and then he gives it all to me, and I take it, start from the beginning, and I sort of massage it and add some emotion. I add the emotions in there. I might change. He might put some dialogue in, and then I might get in and say, change it or add to it or whatever. So we write completely as a unit. So the voice is not just my voice or his voice. I think is our voice.
That is so cool. I'd probably murder my husband if I had to do that with him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now it took us a little while. I admit, when we first started writing, I didn't want to say, "Oh, I don't like that," because I feel like I would hurt his feelings. Mm-hmm. And then I was sensitive if he said he didn't like something, because it's like, oh, but then I don't know. It just sort of, after a while, you get more used to like being open and honest and saying no. And sometimes he can tell from my face that if he says something and I'm looking at him like he says, "You don't like that." No, I don't like that. So, yeah. That's how we write.
That is so cool. I really love that. I just love that about you guys.
Who does the editorial changes when you get your editorial letter?
It's the funny thing is I do. Paul doesn't like to do edits at all, unless there's something specific, like in the SWAT book 2, Wolf Trouble, where we had Khaki and Xander. Everybody has to like Xander. The ending was, the editor thought, it's a little too over the top because it had a landmine and a grenade. That's just too much. You can have a landmine and a grenade. So that part there had to be rewritten. So if it's a big scene like that, and we don't have to do that often, but in that book we did, and he took that piece out and he worked on that separately. But the edits, unless there's something I'm just like, okay, what are they saying here? Or what do you think we should do in this? Then he'll do that and he'll hop in. But mostly he prefers me to handle all the edits. So, yeah.
Okay, so Michelle wants to know, can we assume that you write the love scenes?
No, we write together too. And that's so funny because it's so funny when people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, why not? No, so we do that. Now he always says he takes care of the tab slot, or, tab A, slot B type thing. The actual mechanics of it. Because he likes to say it's just like writing an action scene, basically. It's, where what goes where and what their arms are. And occasionally he'll put like a little, funny thing they say in there, or he'll have a comment, because I get this thing where in sex scenes, I like people to talk. I don't know why. It's just, that's my thing. So I go in and then I put all the emotion they should have in there, and, the sensitive stuff in the scene, I guess you'd call it. But no, we write those together too. So we write everything together.
That's so cool. That is really just awesome.
Even the action scene, sometimes I'll have to say to him, okay, explain this to me. Because if I'm like, all right, well, I'm confused by this. And he said, okay, if you're confused, because I figure when I look at that, I look at it as a reader thinking, is a reader going to be confused by this action scene? Where is she in relationship to him during these fights? Because there's that fight in the park, and I wanted to make sure I knew who was where and what they were doing. So, yeah, right all together.
So Samantha wants to know if you have a favorite series.
A favorite series that we wrote? Is that what you think she means?
Yeah,
maybe favorite series. I could a favorite series. Now, I am partial to the Special Wolf Alpha Team. I guess if I had to say, oh my gosh, that's my favorite, it might have to be that one. But I don't like to, make any of my characters feel bad. So don't tell them I said that. But that one is just really special. It's got that team dynamic. It's got all the people. It's got, if you read To Love a Wolf, which is book 4 with Cooper and Everly, that's sort of our book, I call it, because my husband is retired military and he did bomb squads. So the character, I'm like, we need a guy that, and he got to the point where he could write a guy that had done that. So for us, that's special because that book in that series is special. That's most special to me because that's us. She comes from an art background and so did I. So it just kind of, I guess that one.
Hey, Sarah wants to know what your daily writing routine is.
It's so funny. I'm a routine-oriented person, but sometimes I'm doing stuff all over the place. Like the typical day will be like, we'll get up early and we'll like right now, thankfully, he's working from home. But I would get up with Paul, and then he does his day job. I exercise, and then I have to, glam my face because I'm the type of person who puts makeup on every day, whether I'm going out or not. So I do that. And then I'll come out and I have to do all the email and stuff like that. I like to pretty much do that in the morning and get that out of the way. Well, I say out of the way. And then I will see, well, okay, what do I need to work on today? If it's something for, if I have to do any promotion stuff that I have to get to somebody, like a blog or whatever, then I'll do that. But then throughout the day, I write, but I do other things at the same time. So it is nicer, I admit, to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write for, the 30 minutes or whatever. Because I'm also one of those people that keep saying when we write, okay, 30 minutes, got to get up and stretch. So, because I'm like a really exercising person. So I just write throughout the day. And then at night, like I said, we write till about maybe 8-ish, I guess. And then we'll watch some TV and then go to bed. So that's why I always thought you guys were so sweet to do this a little early, because I said, I kind of wanted it early. That way we could watch a little something before we went to bed. So he said, yeah, most people don't go to bed that early. I'm like, well, we go to bed at 11. He said, yeah, but you start getting ready for bed at like 9. I'm like, yeah. So, well, everything I do in the morning, I got to do reverse at night, right? So true. It's true. So I just kind of, I like when I get to sit down and, write in big chunks. It does help. And Paul's he likes to write in big chunks. But then I will do okay, I got 15 minutes, I'll write, and it's harder for him to do that. He likes to have a long space to write in. I'll write whenever, wherever. So,
do you have a daily word count goal?
Nope. I don't. And he probably does more than I do, because I'll say, I like to do scenes. So I'll be like, I want to do this scene. I'm trying to pick something from this book. Okay, I want to do the scene where Caleb was, eating peanut butter out of the jar today, where they were talking.
I love that scene.
Me too.
I very much of my son.
Okay, well, I gotta admit, I could totally eat it out of the thing too, but I don't like, maybe use my finger. But I kind of like to put the food in there, because for me, it's like sort of food porn in a way, because I'm like, oh man, they get to eat, like they get donuts and they get all the stuff that I don't eat. And I'm like, oh, this is so fun. And husband and like Paul too, he's like, oh yeah, and then he always makes them have pizza or whatever. But I love to do the food and wherever they are. So when this book, The Wolf Under Fire, we actually looked up, the British cookies and that British cheese, because I think it makes you feel like you're more immersed in that where we are, you know.
Right.
So
it feels authentic. It feels authentic when you do that. Yeah.
Definitely.
I saw that Leisha said, I don't know if you have been asked this, but do you have conversations with your book characters? And if you do, have you had to change something in the book you're writing?
Yes. Now, I don't know. Well, I don't want to hint too much, but that whole scene where we were going to kill someone who didn't, that's something that changed the book. But sometimes, yeah, we'll write and we'll be like, okay, we were like, especially book 2 in this series, Harley's book, had a different, when we first plotted them out, had a different bad guy, a totally different paranormal creature. And as we're writing it, we're like, I don't know. And in fact, her guy in it wasn't even going to be a werewolf. He is now. He was going to be a different kind of paranormal. And we're like, I don't know. So in that case, we talk to them. And I always like to say, they tell us they don't want to do that. Or like in the case of that character, and he came to my husband in a dream and said, no, you can't kill me off. So I like to say they even tell me their names. I know that's so funny, but I'm like, they just tell me their names. And I do, he'll tell you, I do all the picking of the hero and heroine names. Like I have to say, is this character going to like be a hero later? Because he has to have a hero name. He can't have just like a regular name. You know, I have like hero names, not hero names.
Right.
I'm sure I do that too. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Although sometimes he does trick me because I'm like, wait a minute. So John got a book in Exops. Why is his name John? It shouldn't have been John then, you know, but so, yeah. So yes, in short, or to answer that question, the characters do talk to us and I talk to them, or sometimes if they're just not working with you with a scene, I think that's their way of saying it didn't happen like this. Like even when I say we go to P.F. Chang's, I feel that the characters sit down with us and tell us the story.
Oh, cool.
So, and sometimes they just don't want to talk. And I'm like, hey, you know, we need this. We need to hand this, you know, this synopsis in or whatever. You got to talk. We got to write your book. So, yeah, I just think they sit with us and talk to us. In fact, I think I did a blog like that with somebody from Special Wolf Alpha Team and said that we went to dinner with her and she told us this, and this. And so, yeah.
Oh, that's a fun idea. So you just mentioned Exops, and Michelle wants to know, how is STAT different from Exops?
Okay, well, Exops, that's this one. They are secret agents who work for the American government, U.S. government, that sounds better. Where I said that was weird. But nobody knows that they work for them, and the government doesn't want anybody to know that they work for them. And it's always a shifter and a human pairing in this series. Plus, there's lots of infighting and machinations, and they're not, while they're friends and they become even friendlier over time with the other agents, whereas STAT, we wanted to make it more like Special Wolf Alpha Team, where they're actually a team. Because I think that while I love Exops, what I miss about that one, and we wrote it specifically like that for that reason, but it doesn't have that team feel, you know? I kind of like the team camaraderie that we see in Special Wolf Alpha Team that we wanted to put in this one, just they're not all werewolves. And there's no fighting in this one. Imaginations, everybody trusts everybody.
Okay, so this is a funny story, Paige. Like before we met with you, we were talking about just the three of us were talking about is it natives that you call them?
Native,
okay.
Yep.
So we were talking about your natives and I'm like, have we Googled natives to see if they're real? You know? And so we were like literally before you came gone, we were like Googling natives to see if they're like a real thing. So where did you?
Yeah, that's what we were, you know, as global warming. No. No, we wanted to make up these characters. We wanted to make of something that was unique and new and no one ever heard of. And we're like, we need some kind of big thing. And we're like, well, you know, what if they're an environmental, you know, type of sort of environmental terrorist, but not terrorist like you think. So, yeah, it was fun to come up with them. And I think that from hearing what people say that they did, you know, really love them. So it's fun to come up with different. And like I said, there'll be a lot more paranormals that you'll meet in book 2 that are, some you will be like, oh, I know what that is. And some you'll be like, oh, that's cool. I never heard of that. You might have to Google and say, oh, no, I don't have any native out there. At least I hope not. But then I kind of feel, I felt kind of bad for them in a way. Yeah. And so we actually had Jess say that. And I think we had Jake say, yeah, or Forrest say, yeah, well, I don't feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I sort of wanted to put that in there. Well, maybe at some point we could coexist with them, So I kind of feel bad. I don't feel bad for all the bad guys, just I kind of feel bad for them.
Okay, so in that vein where you were talking about paranormal, Michelle wants to know, how did you choose to write paranormal books? And then she also wants to know when book 2 of Stat comes out.
Okay. Well, we turned book 2 in June, and since it's usually like a baby gestating with a 9-month delivery, that should be what? June, July, August, September, August, October, November, December, January, February, March. I would think Stat 2 would come out next year. And the other question was paranormal. I find I have a really hard time writing just a straight contemporary because we need them to do something. And I always feel like with paranormal, you can create a whole new world. Well, there's a couple things. You can create a whole new world and you can do things you can't do in a contemporary or your regular romantic suspense. And people won't say, you can't do that. So no one can really sharpshoot you on stuff. I mean, or that they may say, well, werewolves aren't made that way. Well, my werewolves are, And in Twilight, their vampires sparkle, but that's because it's my werewolf. So I, want to write them that way. And I think they can do so much more and have, I don't know. There's just so many more, I think, stories at places you can go in a paranormal, which I find I can't do in contemporary, even though we've written those. Like we have a Navy SEAL series called Seals of Coronado. And I love writing that. It's fun, but I almost like, I want to put we want to put paranormal in there, and you can't. So you have to keep everything, and you have to be a bit more factual, I think. Whereas this one, we can have them do crazy things. You can have them be crazy, but not something that a human couldn't do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I totally follow you. No, and I agree because I write like minor romantic suspense with paranormal. Right. And so it's like you don't have as many rules or something, you can break the rules or you have more freedom. Because the one I'm writing now, I'm trying to do just like a straight sort of romantic suspense. And gosh darn, is it hard?
It is. It's so hard. You just can't do those things. And people will call you on them if they see something that, I don't think you could do that. But they're not going to think a werewolf can't do it because he's a werewolf,
Right,
so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Paige, your stuffed wolf, does he or she have a name? I think you told us it's the current hero, right?
Yeah. No, this is Jake. He says, looks just like me. Yep, that's Jake.
Okay.
He says, I am Jake.
Kat wants to know if you could collaborate with another author on a dream project, who would it be?
Oh my God. I have this question sometimes, and I know when I had it a while back, I always said, I love the Monster High series. And they originally came out where they were in, like the original series, the first 4 books that came out, they were in high school. So they were, more like 16, 17, 18 and then they got younger as the other books came out. But I always thought, it'd be so cool to collaborate with her on do a more Monster High. I think that would be so fun, like Monster High in college or something. I think that would be so cool. I'm trying to think of anybody else. I'm trying to think. I read a lot of new adults, and right now, my husband and I are both reading I guess it's like middle grade, but they're young adults, but it's called the Last Kids on Earth. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's a Netflix show too. Okay, well, these kids, it's they're sort of like the monster apocalypse, they call it. And these 4 kids are the only ones left. Everybody else left the town, and they ended up getting left there. So they have to sort of fight these baddies, and they just do like action stuff, but they're like kids, so they also do fun stuff too, So I really like that. But yeah, I have to say the girl I don't even know the first. Lissy something. I can't remember her name. The Real Monster High. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Cool.
And
Samantha has a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, I think to the room. Then you could have seen all the Monster High I love.
Samantha wants to know, do the Stat, X-Ops, and SWAT all take place in the same world? Could there be an overlap?
Everybody wants an X-Ops Special Wolf Alpha team. But they don't exist in the same world. X-Ops exists in a totally different world. And especially since if you read Exposed in that series, you realize that while they were secret, they're not anymore. And if that happened, our werewolves would have smelled them. So these two do exist in the same world. But our werewolves would totally have smelled them, and they would have totally smelled the werewolves. But I will give you a secret. Even though they don't exist in the same world, in book 9, Wolf Instinct, when they're out there in LA, the heroine of that, Alyssa, who actually works for Special Threat Assessment Team, actually talks about she originally ran into the same serial killer who was a shifter in book 2 in X-Ops. So you'd only know that if you read both series. And now that I think about it, in Rachel's book, her last name is Bennett, and she says she has a brother who's in Special Forces, and there's a Major Bennett in X-Ops. So we do kind of, for the fans that know both, but technically they don't exist in the same world. So,
very cool.
So it's fun to just put the Easter eggs in for people.
Laura says she's excited for Diego, but can't wait for Trey. And I have to say, Laura, I agree with you. I'm really looking forward to Trey, but now I think I want Caleb first. Not that but
I think the way it's going to come out is it's going to be Diego, then Harley's book releases, and then Trey, because we're writing him now, and then we'll write Caleb. So Trey's will release before Caleb's book. But now I know who exactly I picked. The actors I picked for the STAT guys, I know perfectly. SWAT, but I don't know their names. But like, say for Jake, do you know the guy in the SWAT TV show? David Lim. That's who I picture for Jake. You know who I mean? I picture for Jake.
I've not seen the show. I've seen the commercial for it.
Okay, him, yeah. But for Trey, I picture the guy that plays Green Arrow or Arrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
You hear all of us going, ooh,
I know.
yeah.
Picture for Trey, especially since I have a picture of him and he's got that really serious look, and Trey's a more serious sort. So, but we finished actually just plotting his book the other day, outlining it, and I just sent the synopsis in, and I said to Paul, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a really good story. Someone else said that. Who wrote that? But I'm like, I just really like what we did with it. It ventures into the supernatural world even more, and I just think it's really cool. So, as I said, I think that's why I love paranormal, because we get to come up with all these cool creatures and stuff.
Yeah. Michelle says his name is Stephen Amell. Is that how? I'm not sure if that's how you say it.
That's right.
Is that how you say it? And she said she has a picture hugging him. Oh, Michelle,
who is that?
On the Facebook page, we'd love to see that.
Oh, that would be cool. Yes, post that, Michelle, if you have it.
Yeah, post that right in there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Okay. I'm
alrighty.
David Boreanaz is on that. He's been in so many TV shows. I still love him as Angel, but
now see, I am torn between. I actually. He's the inspiration for Rachel's mate, who is a former Navy SEAL turned werewolf. He was also a hunter werewolf for a while. Didn't know what he was doing. So, but he's inspiration for him. I know I'm torn between, I loved Angel, but I love him as Booth. And I said, it's so funny. I think he gets more handsome as he gets older.
I agree.
Maybe because we're the same as he is. So maybe that's why, but I'm like, he just gets better looking, as he gets older, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
I definitely agree.
Well, Paige, thank you for being with us today. It was so awesome talking to you about Wolf Under Fire and just your writing process and all the fun that is Wolf Under Fire. So yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Such a great book to read. It was just such a great pleasure during all of the craziness. We're still locked down here where I live, and so it was just so nice to have something every day exciting to read. So
right, definitely.
Yeah, it is. And I think, and you probably do that even as you're writing, you're like, oh good, I get to get in a different world right
yeah
now. I'm like, why do I look at social media so much? I should stay off there, But yes, it is. It's really nice. And you can feel, okay, people aren't even going to expect, I've heard some writers say, well, do you think we have to include pandemic stuff? And I thought, oh, I'm so glad we write paranormal. We don't have to do that, even if people thought we did, because we wrote in a totally different world,
Right.
You have to be reminded of that stuff. Not really.
Right.
No.
All right. Well, Paige, thanks for joining us, and we'll hopefully have you back for another book you're going to have out. Definitely for definitely for Caleb's book.
Well, I'm excited about his book because we came up with his mate when we were writing Harley's book. So
awesome. All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Wow.
Okay.
That was so much fun.
Oh, that was so fun.
That was fun. Okay, guys. All y'all watching here. Sharon's got some questions for you.
Okay. So we're going to do author poll.
Our poll.
To know us better. Okay.
Yes.
So we took a theme from next month's book.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be talking, and it's going to be about rescue animals. So we are asking questions about our rescue animals. So you have to figure out which author I'm talking about, and someone will put this in a poll on the Facebook page. It will not be me because I don't know how to do that. So we'll get Abbie to do that. Okay. So which author rescued a Chihuahua Terrier mix that became her best dog ever? But if you looked at this dog, your first thought would be, wow, she's got a great personality. Okay. Which author has a husband who sent out a bunch of mouse traps in the garage? The next morning, almost every trap was full. Then all of a sudden, little baby mice appeared. He felt so bad, he ended up raising them until they were grown, and then he took them far away, released them not near the house. But now he only uses catch and release traps. Which author was forced to rescue a cat because the cat just moved in and stayed and wouldn't leave? And then which author ended up rescuing a dog because her kids made a full presentation with animation and music explaining why they should get a dog, but only to then leave the dog in the care of the author?
Sounds like kids, right?
Sounds like kids. Okay, so we'll post. These are kind of long, so we'll post them on the page, and we'd love to see if you can guess who's who. That's always so much fun.
Okay, so guys, next month's book, y'all ready? You ready, Jenny?
Yep.
Next month's book is going to be.
And I forgot my cowboy hat.
You forgot your cowboy hat.
I don't have one. And
Cowboy.
I couldn't buy one.
Next month's book, I got to figure out how to point right. I can't point in the right direction. It's Jenny's book, A Cowboy State of Mind.
Yay!
Isn't that gonna be fun?
I can't wait.
I know. I
can't wait.
This book is the first book in my new series. So if some of you have read the Cowboys of Credence, this is kind of a spin-off, kind of like Paige was talking about. And this is a spin-off. So it's the same world, the same town. It's just a new character. And it's got a broody, wounded, scarred cowboy and a spunky waitress and a whole motley crew of rescued animals that show up on this farm. And it doesn't come out until Tuesday. I will be giving 2 books out on Tuesday as a giveaway from the from whoever's commented, and we'll go like through Sunday. So I'll pick from people that have commented. Oh, Leisha, thank you for commenting on the cover. Thank you. It's so fun.
It's a beautiful cover.
And
how do you go wrong with a horse?
How what?
How do you go wrong with a horse? You can't. Like, that is just gorgeous. A horse and
a cowboy. I know.
Yeah.
And
a horse and a cowboy.
Bunch of horses, and there's like a fashion conscious pig and an ornery goat and a mini horse named Seamus. That is like my favorite character. I love Seamus so much. So anyway, that is the new book.
And I can't wait to read it because I feel like I lived the editing process of this book.
You did.
I know all the parts you took out, and I know what you added back.
I know, right? So we'll list the links and all that business on the website or on
Alrighty.
Yep. And
all right, guys.
If you comment, you have a chance to win Jenny's books and then the $20 gift card.
Right. Yep. All righty. So we'll see you next month for Jenny's book, A Cowboy State of Mind.
Bye.
Bye.